Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's wonderful to see everyone. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for attending today's July Chamber Luncheon. After a 3-month hiatus, the Chamber is ready to get back to business. As you can see, we've implemented several cautionary measures for today's luncheon. From fever detection systems at the entryway, complements of modern systems, and socially distanced seating to limit capacity, and boxed lunches, the Chamber is putting health first every step of the way to ensure the safety of today's attendees. I would also like to thank Lonnie Lawson, Laura Glover, and the entire staff at the Center for Rural Development for their willingness to host today's luncheon. It's a strong declaration of their support for the Chamber and our local business community. And again, a big thanks to Modern Systems for providing not one, but 2 fever detection systems at today's luncheon, ensuring everyone's safety. Every Kentuckian wants to do the right thing to flatten the curve and save lives, but the use of selective enforcement by the current administration has significantly burdened our small business community. This is not a Republican or Democratic conversation. Rather, it's a difference in philosophy on personal responsibility and how to govern, and how government needs to have a more limited role in the day-to-day lives of citizens of the Commonwealth. Also, as the largest business support organization in Southeast and East Kentucky, I believe that it's critical that our Chamber be a leader in demonstrating that we can get back to business in a safe and responsible fashion. So in saying this, thank you again for your attendance today, and let's get ready to enjoy a wonderful luncheon. We've got a great presentation today. I'd like to ask Pastor Jeffrey Griffith from Denham Street Baptist Church to please come forward for today's invocation.
Thank you, Bobby. Just before I ask the blessing, I'd like to mention this to you. Back in the fall of last year, Denham Street Baptist Church sponsored the In God We Trust plaques with the government, the national seal, and we put those in all of our public schools here in Pulaski and surrounding counties. And we also had several business people that wanted one, so we made several available. And I've got some folks in my church that are financially able to help us. These plaques are very nice, very professional. The cost is about $80, but we're going to pay for it. If your business would like to have one of these In God We Trust plaques, if you could get in touch with me. I didn't bring one today, but I will next month at the next luncheon. But if your business is interested in having a plaque, In God We Trust, our church will provide it. Bring it to your business, and all we ask is that you display it. It doesn't have our church name on it. We don't want any recognition. We just want our local businesses to have it if they'd like to have it. I hope you're doing well in this recovery. Churches suffered as well as you have economically, but we know that the Lord will take care of every one of us. Let's bow for prayer, okay? Father, in Jesus' name, we want to thank you for every expression of your love to us. Thank you for our chamber luncheon, Lord, this monthly gathering where we can come together as a community of local business people. And Lord, we thank you for our local business people. And I know that this COVID-19 national pandemic has affected everyone. And I want to ask you in a special way today as we try to recover economically that you would bless these businesses, local businesses here and abroad. I ask your eternal Lord, your smile, your blessing upon each one. May they move forward through the summer and the early fall months and be prosperous. And we'll thank you for it and we'll bless you for it. Thank you for the food that has been prepared. Thank you for those that have provided it. And thank you for all that you do for us in this area. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pastor Griffith. We have two for Tuesdays today. That's fun. Two for Tuesdays. We have first up from Modern Systems, Blake Morris. Is Blake here? I think I saw Blake. Blake, come on up. Blake would like to talk a little bit about Modern Systems and all their wonderful technology, I have no doubt.
Okay, I'm Blake with Modern Systems. You probably know us as the security company, and we very much are. We offer security, CCTV, access control, fire alarm systems, and much, much more. But technology is always changing, and we always stay at the leading edge of it. So I want to use this as an opportunity just to show you some cool, exciting new technology that's available to you by Modern Systems. So if you'll turn your attention to the PowerPoint here, right behind you, starting off with CCTV 24/7 color cameras. There we go. I don't think the video is going to play, but what this video is meant to demonstrate is the exciting advancements in 24/7 color camera technology. With 24/7 color cameras, we can turn night into day, and that is made available to you. So if you're looking to upgrade your existing camera system, or you are looking for a brand new CCTV system, don't settle for just okay. With access control technology, we can use your existing access control system or provide a new access control system using facial recognition and Bluetooth technology to make your phone or your face your credential, which is great because you're probably going to lose your access control card. I know that I do, but you're hardly ever going to lose your phone, and I can guarantee you're not going to lose your face. With license plate identification, we can capture every vehicle that enters your premises. Now, this is a critical piece of information because every time Modern Systems provides the license plate to the police department, we're providing the police department with the culprit's home address. And this can be used for an array of applications like blacklisting. If you want to be notified if someone enters your property unlawfully, you can receive a text and email alert to notify you so. So license plate identification is a new exciting piece of technology. And finally, with fever identification, you all have passed through that today. We are using fever identification, elevated body temperature measurement solutions to reopen communities, healthcare facilities, factories, and schools like the Pulaski County School System and Somerset School System, Somerset Christian School System, among others. We are using to get workers and students back to class and back to work safely and efficiently. So all of this is to say, if you are looking for a security company that stays on the leading edge of technology, think Modern Systems, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Blake. David, he's a chip off the old block. Our second Two for Tuesday is Dustin Phillips, and Dustin's going to come up, and he's going to be talking on behalf of the American Heart Association. So, Dustin, come on up here.
Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate it. Good to see you, buddy. I come to you today, for those of you that don't know, my name's Dustin Phillips. I am a volunteer this year on the Lake Cumberland Area Heart Walk Committee, but I'm also the father of the Ambassador Kid. My son, Gage, has quite the heart journey story of his own, and get into that in just a second. But wanted to introduce myself, say hi, and just remind you that, you know, as we all are struggling to figure out what are we doing with public events and, you know, how are we doing fundraisers, how are we raising money, the Heart Association is no different. And we have all been on the phone struggling. How do we make sure this is impactful for the community and for the association under the times that we're in? So that being said, I want to say one quick note as why the Heart Association is so important to my family. When my son Gage was born in 2008, the pulse ox test was not required. You could have your baby and go home. No issues were to be detected because no test was ran. There's a lot of tragic stories of kids coming home and having those issues that a simple test could have found and detected and maybe fixed, but didn't have that opportunity. My son, and I use this word scarcely, fortunately, symptoms were so bad they were visceral to where we had no test needed. You could look at him and tell something was wrong. So at 3 days old, he went under the knife and had his first open heart surgery. So thank goodness we celebrated Gage's, in quarantine, 12th birthday last month. So he's doing great, and a lot of kids like him. But the Heart Association in 2013 got involved with legislation and said, we cannot let this happen. We need to make sure this test is cheap, is readily available. And they got involved, and that legislation was passed. So fortunately today, because of the work that they do, kids like mine do not leave without that test being done. I could say, even in a diminished crowd, by a show of hands, heart disease or stroke affected a loved one, family member, yourself. It's always a multitude of hands that go up. Now, in spite of everything that's going on, I do want to parlay that what we're doing is we're scheduling the Heart Walk for September the 17th. So I urge any business, I urge any individual that feels compelled to help this year in what all that we're dealing with, get your company involved, get sponsorships involved. That is the way that through all of this, the Heart Walk can still make sure they're helping families. We are also scheduled for June 21st at noon, a virtual kickoff. Due to the circumstances, we all in the committee have felt it's probably best to keep everyone safe, but we still need to get that information out there. So June 21st at noon, please join us for a virtual kickoff. I'm sure the Facebook on the Chamber's page will give us some more information on that. I know there are several committee members here. If y'all stand up real quick, if you're on the committee of the Lake Cumberland Area Heart Walk. In parting, guys, there's several of us here. If you've got any questions, how to get involved, how for your business to get involved. And lastly, we do want to thank Lake Cumberland Regional Hospital. Their sponsorship it does not go undervalued. So thank you to them. If you need any information, please get with any of the committee members. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dustin. Just a couple of updates, announcements I'd like to make. We are having a chamber after hours on the 23rd of this month. That's going to be Thursday, July 23rd. It's going to be at the Fifth Quarter. So most of you all probably know the Fifth Quarter, probably don't know that name. It's the old coal reserve. They actually purchased the coal reserve and have done some amazing updates to it. So we're going to be doing an after hours there, and we're going to have a chance to talk about what the Chamber's been doing over the past 16 weeks. So what I will tell you is that I believe that our Chamber here in Somerset, Kentucky has probably been the most forward-thinking Chamber of Commerce in the state of Kentucky over the last 3 months. And I'd put us up against Lexington, Louisville, Northern Kentucky, or anyone else. So we're going to talk about some of the things that we've been doing to propel our business community forward in a challenging environment. So I would encourage, and plus, I think everybody just wants to come out and see the old coal reserve. I mean, the Fifth Quarter, what they've done out there, they've completely renovated the carriage house. They've done updates to the main house. It is a beautiful facility, and they've done some neat things to it. So I would encourage everybody to come out and have some fellowship with us. That's going to be on the evening of Thursday, July 23rd. And besides that, is there anything else I need to mention? I think that's probably the biggest thing. I'm going to go ahead and I'll turn the program over to my boss this year, President of the Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Troy Lovell.
Good afternoon to everyone. I just want to say it's great to see everybody out today and just say thank you to those that deem it important to come out and support our community, support our businesses, and just try to get our community back on the right track and support one another. I want to start off by calling this meeting, the July meeting of the Chamber of Commerce, to order. And I'd also like to welcome all of our guests, our public officials, their representative, and of course, as always, I'd like to welcome our membership. There have been placards placed on your table that recognize all of our sponsors, either our world-class sponsors, our Chamber Circle sponsors, and our Ambassador Circle sponsors have been placed on your table. And if you'd take time to review those, we very much appreciate these businesses. I'd also like to recognize our two brand new sponsors that we have, our Ambassador Circle sponsors, Pepsi of Somerset, and Horse Soldier Bourbon. So please help me welcome them. Give them a round of applause. I'd also like to say thank you and appreciation to the Center of Rural Development and Karen's Catering and Event Planning for the lunch that we've had today. Please give them a round of applause. They've both went to, I wouldn't say extreme measures, but difficult measures to make this luncheon happen today. The Center of Rural Development for all the effort that they've put into opening up our venue today, to separating the tables, all the precautions have been put in place. We can't say thank you enough for making that happen. And Karen's Catering for doing all they could to keep everybody safe and boxing the lunches up. It was all just very needed, and to go that extra step means a lot. I'd also like to take time and recognize, a little out of order, but I've already started, to recognize our chamber ambassadors. So if you could, please stand for our chamber ambassadors who are present today. Please, let's give them a hand. Thank you all. Now it's time to introduce our new members for these last few months. And when you hear your name called, please stand and I will read your introduction. Carwood Tech. Nobody here from Carwood Tech. Cash MD, contact Denny Brummett or Chris Fry. Denny or Chris here today? You'll have to forgive me. I'm scanning a wide audience today to make sure I don't overlook somebody. Next, we have Electric Beauty Lab and Spa. Contact Christopher Boland or Dreama White. There they are. Located on Highway 2227, Electric Beauty Lab is Somerset's newest full-service salon and spa. The Electric Beauty Lab salon offers all hair and waxing services, and the spa offers full body waxing, microblading, lash extensions, brow threading, facials, Botox, fillers, chemical peels, manicures, pedicures, and more. When opening the business, the goal was to give the community a one-stop beauty shop. Owners Christopher Boland and Dreama White have created just that. Electric Beauty Lab will also be offering liquor, wine, and malt beverages, along with a limited brunch and lunch menu. Clients can enjoy these goodies at both locations or can call in and pick up to-go orders. To learn more, please check them out on Facebook at Electric Beauty Lab LLC. I'll get it out in just a minute. Please give them another round of applause. Thank you all for being here. Next, we have Hollander Manufacturing Company. Contact Mark Solitro. I think they're being here today. Next, we have Horse Soldier Bourbon. Contact Cody Gibson. The Chamber would like to officially welcome our newest sponsor, Horse Soldier Bourbon. Immediately following the attacks on 9/11, the U.S. responded with an insertion of Green Beret teams into northern Afghanistan. This region's mountainous terrain made efforts and enemy engagements on the wild Afghan horses a necessity. Nicknamed the Horse Soldiers, these brave men are honored today by America's Response Monument overlooking Ground Zero in New York City. Pulaski County will be the future location of Horse Soldiers' flagship production plant in the near future. With an estimated $50 million investment into our community, construction will begin soon with an anticipated opening in 2022. Sitting on 200 acres of beautiful farmland overlooking Lake Cumberland, the Chamber of Commerce is excited to see what the future holds for these great patriots who continue to live legendary lives by instilling family values, adventurous spirits, and pride into Horse Soldier Bourbon Whiskey. Please help me welcome Horse Soldier Bourbon to the Chamber of Commerce. Next, we have Infinite Abilities and Support. Contact Karen Wilson. Karen here today. There's Karen. Infinite Abilities and Supports, owned by Brian and Karen Wilson, is a support for community living's provider in Pulaski County. The care they provide individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Today, the agency is being represented by Amber King, Human Resources Coordinator. Please help me welcome Infinite Abilities and Supports to the Chamber of Commerce. Next, we have New York Life Insurance Company. Contact Cody Mullins. There's Cody. At the heart of New York Life Insurance is a commitment to be there for their customers when you need them. Whether it's today or decades in the future, New York Life has delivered on that promise for 175 years by investing wisely, growing a portfolio of strategic business, and remaining true to our mission as a mutual company, accountable only to our customers, not to outside investors. Today, no U.S. life insurer has a higher financial strength rating than New York Life. For their customers, that means having the confidence that comes with knowing they can build a better future for themselves and those they love. For more info, please contact local agent Cody Mullins at 859-583-2946. Please help me welcome New York Life Insurance Company to the Chamber of Commerce. Next, we have Our Life in Oils, doTERRA Oil. Contact Shelley Gambale. I think they were going to be here today. Next, we have Phantom Properties, LLC. Contact Grant Tredo. Next, we have Pro Trade Hardware Incorporated. Contact Jennifer and Lucas Bates. There they are. Located on West Highway 80, Pro Trade Hardware is Pulaski County's newest locally owned independent hardware store. Pro Trade is not your typical cookie cutter hardware store. Pro Trade's purpose is to provide quality tools and building supplies for all the tradesmen, including but not limited to general construction, roofers, framers, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, flooring, landscapers, and do-it-yourselfers. Also, Pro Trade Hardware is the new home of the Country Clipper dealership, providing commercial and residential mowers. Owners Lucas and Jennifer Bates are extremely proud to open a local independent store and promise to provide the most memorable and friendly customer service you have ever experienced. Please help me welcome Pro Trade Hardware Incorporated to the Chamber of Commerce. Next, we have Somerset IV Hydration. Contact Adam Fleming and Dr. James Foster. Hydration is important, but the truth is your body is only absorbing a fraction of the nutrients you are consuming. Somerset IV Hydration is a safe method of replenishing fluids and nutrients with 100% absorption of vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and antioxidants. Are you suffering from an ongoing health condition or just not feeling your best? Are you looking for an effective way to boost your health? Are you a runner training for a marathon? Somerset IV Hydration can provide all the fluids, nutrients, and electrolyte replacement your body needs. The results are quick, impressive, and include peak athletic performance, recovery from illness or jet lag, and a legit boost in your energy so that you can enjoy optimal health and immunity. To schedule your appointment, please contact Dr. James Foster or Holistic Health Practitioner and Manager Adam Fleming at 606-451-3168. Please help me welcome Somerset IV Hydration to the Chamber of Commerce. Next, we have Superior Home Inspections, LLC. Contact Butch Sizemore. Next, we have the fifth quarter. Contact Melissa Irvin. Next on our list, we have Timothy Phelps, speaker and author. There's Timothy. Timothy R. Phelps is a motivational speaker, author, and life coach. He believes that everyone has hurdles they must overcome in their lives and that everyone needs someone in their corner. Phelps knows that with God and massive ambition, anyone can overcome the odds. Timothy just released his new book, The Invisible Child, Overcoming the Odds, which takes you on an emotional journey through his life and how he was able to overcome the odds after enduring abuse, neglect, drug and alcohol addiction, being homeless, abusive and controlling relationships, as well as suicide attempts. Go to www.coachphelpscanhelp.com to book Timothy Phelps to speak, schedule a book signing, or purchase his new book. Please help me welcome Timothy Phelps to the Chamber of Commerce. Next, we have University of Cumberland's. Contact Jim Askins. Jim's not here today. I'd like to, again, thank all of our new members and appreciate your attendance and being here today. Next, I'm going to have the recognition of the Ambassador of the Month. And just so you'll know, we're behind on these a little bit since we've not been having our luncheons. We have 4 awards to give out today and 3 different winners. First, for the months of March and April, please recognize Kristen Whitson of the Job Shop. Good job, Kristen. Next, for the month of May, our Ambassador of the Month is Crystal Cox, Modern Security Systems. Modern Systems. And for the month of June, we have Deborah Ruckle in UPS Store. Now it's come time for our corporate sponsor of today's luncheon, and that is the Alton Blakely family of dealerships. And Brad Gover is going to be speaking for them. So Brad, come on up and say a few words.
Thank you, Troy, and good afternoon, and so glad to see everybody here today. In 1965, Alton E. Blakely Sr. began selling new Fords in Somerset, and if I can work this, there we go. That's where it all began, and that's where, as I said, Alton E. Blakely Sr. started selling Fords back in 1965. His mission and his legacy live on today with the Alton Blakely family of dealerships. And as we see one of the ads that celebrated our 2nd anniversary, I see that a lot has changed. New Mustang sticker priced at $2,820. Sale priced at $2,564. So a lot has definitely changed over the years, but our commitment to our customers and our community remains the same. And as a way to celebrate our 55th anniversary and give back to this community in these unprecedented times, we launched what we called the Drive for 55. And throughout the month of June, we pledged to donate $55 to God's Food Pantry for the first 100 test drives. And I'm pleased to announce that not too long ago, we were able to donate that $5,500 check to God's Food Pantry, and want to thank our customers for the opportunity to do so and making this a resounding success. And obviously want to thank God's Food Pantry for the ministry to our community, and they do such a wonderful job with that. On March the 12th of this year, we celebrated the grand opening of the all-new auto outlet from Alton Blakely, and several of you here today were with us then. So as we see our ribbon cutting ceremony, the auto outlet from Alton Blakely is our very first standalone pre-owned dealership that we have company-wide with the same quality pre-owned vehicles from a source that you trust. As you walk through the showroom of the auto outlet, as many have seen there at the grand opening, you'll take a step back in time, being able to view pictures from the early days of Alton Blakely, complete with a 1930 Model A right on the showroom floor. So I'm excited to announce that the auto outlet from Alton Blakely is celebrating our grand opening 2.0 beginning today with quality pre-owned vehicles priced for any budget. And during our grand opening 2.0 celebration, with every test drive from the auto outlet, you'll receive a $25 gift card to your favorite local restaurants. We look forward to seeing you at the auto outlet from Alton Blakely. Last May, right here at the Chamber Luncheon, for the very first time, I was able to introduce that plans were in place for a brand new Alton Blakely Honda facility to be located just south of Alton Blakely Ford. And this is the render of what that new dealership was to look like. And as you've noticed by passing through Highway 27, here is where we are as of yesterday. So as you can see, we're getting very close. Here is the render for the showroom. Well, there we go. And that's the render of the showroom completed, and here is where we are as of yesterday. So as you can see, we're getting very close to opening this new state-of-the-art Honda dealership, and we look forward to serving our great customers with this great facility that features a very large showroom, a comfortable customer lounge, and 2 drive-in service bays for your convenience. So what better way to celebrate Alton Blakely's 30th year with Honda than opening up our much-anticipated new dealership. So soon the Alton Blakely family of dealerships will be all on one campus for the very first time, and we're very excited for that. And offering new Ford, Lincoln, Honda vehicles and a large selection of quality pre-owned vehicles that are priced for any budget. I want to thank you for allowing us to serve you, this wonderful community, since 1965. Thank you.
Just a few little housekeeping items that may want to mention, take this time so you won't be surprised, but with today's events and our speaker going up, I just wanted to mention to everybody that we might run over about 10 minutes today, but if you need to go, please get up and excuse yourself. And then also wanted to tell everyone that, that we are streaming this live on Facebook. And that will be happening going forward. So if you can't be here in person, just remember that this Chamber Luncheon is going to be on Facebook Live. And then also, if you could, when you leave today or when you get ready to go, if you could take your trash to one of the receptacles when you leave, it would be much appreciated. So that has our housekeeping taken care of today. And now it's come time for our guest speaker of the day. From Kentucky Chautauqua presents Kentucky Derby winner Roscoe Tarleton Goose. And I do have a bio that I want to read here today. And this is Eddie Price. Eddie Price is a retired history teacher who now writes award-winning books. Chautauqua Performers and Speakers Bureau presenter for Kentucky Humanities Council. Eddie is also a world traveler who enjoys bicycling, horseback riding, and swimming. He and his wife, Mary, now live in Hancock County, Kentucky. He has 2 daughters, Sheena and Brianne. Eddie Price presents a number of acclaimed educational programs all across the United States. Kentucky Chautauqua has brought to life more than 70 famous people from Kentucky's past. Chautauqua performers travel to schools and community organizations throughout the state, delivering historical, accurate dramatizations of Kentuckians who made valuable contributions. As a child, Roscoe Tarleton Goose took a job riding horses for a blacksmith in Louisville to help his family's finances. By autumn of 1910, Roscoe Tarleton Goose was the winning jockey at Churchill Downs and was one of the top riders in America. A few years later, he attracted the attention of trainer and farm owner Thomas Patrick Hayes. Hayes had a horse called Donerail. He wanted Goose to ride in the Kentucky Derby. In what was a stunning victory, Roscoe Tarleton Goose and Donerail won the 1913 Kentucky Derby. The race odds were set at 91-1, the longest odds of a Derby winner, a record which still stands today. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce Eddie Price portraying Roscoe Tarleton Goose.
You move the thing back a little. Oh, y'all startled me. I didn't know anybody was up here. Yep, you're in the right place, all right. 3012 South 3rd Street, Louisville, Kentucky. I bet y'all are them reporters in here with the 1962 running of the Kentucky Derby. And y'all's wanting to interview me about my career? I reckon them folks over at the Downs told you that I might have an open room. I always keep rooms open for jockeys that needs a helping hand up. We got some jockeys staying with us tonight. But there's plenty of room in this big old 3-story house. You're welcome to spend the night. Yep, I'm Roscoe Tarleton Goose, and you caught me in my Derby-winning silks. I'm a little embarrassed, but I wasn't expecting you. You see, I can explain. We jockeys, we always had to worry about our weight, especially when we was riding. And sometimes we worried to the point of obsession. So every year, right around Derby time, I come up here and get out these old silks and see if I can still get in them. And I just barely can. Now up here, you're up in my reminiscing room. Over here, this is what you call an exercise saddle. They're really light. This is the saddle cloth that my colt Donerail wore. And over here, this is a picture of Churchill Downs clubhouse and what it looked like in 1913, the year me and Donerail won the Kentucky Derby. Now, you can ask me anything you want about my career, but you got to remember, I was only a jockey for 7-8 years. I was a breeder, owner, and trainer at Thoroughbreds for over 4 decades. That's a lot longer than I ever was a jockey. When I quit racing, I began mentoring other Kentucky Derby winning jockeys, purchasing agent for nationally known figures. I was even a trainer for Kentucky's U.S. Senator Johnson N. Camden. Now, I know you might be thinking racing's this real glamorous, exciting career. Oh, it's exciting, all right. I ought to know. I broke a few bones, had a few spills and falls, but it can also be deadly. I know something about that too. My younger brother, Carl, he was a jockey like me. He was killed in a tragic racing accident at Latonia in 1915. His horse fell on him, crushed his skull. Back then, all we wore was these little cloth caps. Well, there was no protection at all. So when I quit racing, one of the things I did was become an advocate for safety features, namely helmets for jockeys. Today, everyone on the racetrack wears a helmet, not just the jockeys. Now that I'm an old man, I can look back on my career and I realize how fortunate I've been to spend my life with the horses that I love. But there were some fine people in the business. There were some trainers and owners and jockeys, and some of them jockey stories a whole lot more interesting than mine. So y'all don't want to hear that story about me and Donerail winning the 1913 Kentucky Derby, do you? Yeah, pull up a chair and I'll take you back in time. Oh, I see you already have. Well, there was 5 of us brothers, Luther, Tommy, me, Carl, and Bill. And we grew up on a little farm outside of Jeffersontown, Kentucky, on what folks said had wore-out soil. Our father's name was Rufus. He fought with distinction in the U.S. Civil War for the Union Army, just like our ancestor William Gantz, a wagon maker from Pennsylvania who fought with General George Washington. Yep, I said that name right, Gantz, G-A-N-Z. That's German for a pig of iron. That was our family name. But when he went to apply to be in the Army, they said, "What's your name, boy?" He said, "My name is Wilhelm Gantz." And they spelt it G-A-N-S. Now, Americans don't spell too good, but that's the German word for goose. That's how we become known as the Gooses. Well, Father got this scratch on his head during the war. We think it's from a Confederate Minet ball. It affected his eyesight. He began to wonder how we was going to make a living. After the bad winter of 1900, he made a decision. We was moving into the big city, Louisville, Kentucky. We moved into a little shotgun house in the Butchertown section. Boy, it sure wasn't much. You could have thrown a cat through the south wall. My oldest brothers, they got jobs delivering newspapers. Mother took in washing, sewing, and ironing. Father got odd jobs when he could. And we little uns, we was scattered out to live amongst relatives. They sent me to live with an aunt and an uncle in Marengo, Indiana. But, I went to first and second grades there, but my uncle lost his job, and I had to move back in with my family. And that's when I realized we was poor. My oldest brothers was swiping chunks of coal off of the city wagons so we could stay warm. Meanwhile, I'd had it just about up to here with school, so I quit school in the 3rd grade and moved into the newsboys' home on 3rd and Walnut Streets. You know the best thing about that job, what it was? I had a good warm bunk, and I could get bean soup and bread for 2 cents. Well, in 1905, when I was 14 years old, Father went completely blind. He'd heard about this old soldier's home up in Dayton, Ohio. Take him in as a disabled veteran. If he lived there permanent, they'd give him $12 a month to send home to his family. Well, he had to do it. I still recollect him talking to Mother. He said, "Tell the boys, I'll be back. I'm just going up there for a rest." But he went there, and he never returned. Then I got myself a job, driving a horse and wagon, delivering goods for a department store. Boy, I loved that job. I loved them horses. It just seemed like I could understand them. Why, I drove them all over that big city and out to places like Germantown, Limerick, and Schnitzelburg in all kinds of weather. And I'd put them up during the day, at the end of the day, and I'd go to Bill Brown's blacksmith shop and pet them horses that was in there getting shod. Well, one night, he said, "I'd like to hire you. I want you to ride these great big draft horses from Fair's Brewery and the Firehouse on Shelby and Maine." This was during the winter, and it was cold, and them streets was slick. And them horses had the broadest backs. And I had to ride them bareback on the darkest of winter nights. That snow was swirling and pecking, but I liked it. And I got to keep my daytime job, but sometimes I was so tired, I fell asleep on my delivery runs. But I made money, and I sent most of it home to Mother. Well, one night I was in the blacksmith shop, and Bill Brown said, "You like riding horses so much, you ought to try riding something faster than a draft horse. I just bought myself 2 racehorses. How would you like to be their exercise rider at Churchill Downs?" Boy, you didn't have to ask me twice. I could hardly sleep that night. The next morning I got up and caught that old 4 a.m. owl. That's the old streetcar that runs all night once an hour, and took it out to the Downs, and Bill Brown was already there. He took me out to meet his thoroughbreds. There ain't nothing more beautiful on God's green earth than a thoroughbred. But you know, I was used to riding them big fat draft horses. Well, them little 2-year-old thoroughbreds was skinny by comparison. Well, the first time up, I felt like a real big man. And I felt safe too, with saddle and stirrups and all. But boy, I had a lot to learn about riding. That first week, my legs and behind was so sore, but I learned how to ride and I loved it. Well, there ain't nothing like being up there on that thoroughbred. That speed and power is indescribable. And you get to know your horse, what he can do. So some of them trainers and owners seen that I understood horses. And one of them asked me if I'd take his horse and race him in the Hardin County Fair. There was just one catch. I had to ride that horse 50 miles south to Elizabethtown. I must have been crazy because I did it. One night, me and that horse slept in an abandoned barn. The next day, we was in the races. And that began my racing career. We got enough seconds and thirds to come home on the train. But I moved into the Churchill Downs and took a full-time exercise job. One night, it had rained cats and dogs, and my horse slipped and fell, and I broke my collarbone. Well, I had to eat. You know, the doctor said, you know, you can't continue racing. But I had to eat, so I got a job as a baker's assistant at the princely salary of $2 a week. I didn't know when I took that job it was going to be for 18 hours a day, 6 days a week. To this day, I can't stand the smell of donuts. And then I got myself a job, a contract with Lon Jones, exercising horses out on his farm, out on the Bardstown Road, just across from Bashford Manor Farms. And then I was saving $20 a month, sending half of it home to Mother, waiting for the day they called me back to Churchill Downs. Well, they called me back, and I begun racing and winning races, but I had to learn, that was my breaking in period, because I had to learn how to deal with the downright meanness, the recklessness, the rough riding of them veteran jockeys. Well, they'd kill you just to win. But I started winning races and knew how to take care of myself and my mount. And then I won the Jefferson County Fair when it was held out at Fern Creek. Entered the state fairgrounds races and won 5 of their 6 races and was just beaten by a nose in the 6th. Seemed like I was moving up in the racing world. Folks was talking about me. But everything almost come to an end, because back then there was this group of reformers called themselves progressives, and they was out to kill what they called the wicked sport of racing. But they was mainly against gambling. They'd already shut down tracks in many of the states in the United States, and it seemed like Kentucky might be next. Lon Jones got scared and sold out of all of his horses, and he told me, "Roscoe, racing will soon be a sport of the past." I almost believed him. But I still had a job. There were still people boarding their horses at the stock farm. And I read in the paper where Colonel Matt J. Wynn was building himself he was the chairman of Churchill Downs, was building himself a racetrack across the border in Mexico. Well, I figured right then I'd go to Mexico or even Australia just to stay with racing. But then I got a lucky break. A man named Henderson come to the stock farm and said he needed an exercise boy to go with him that winter to California. Soon I was galloping 5 and 6 mounts every morning in that bright Pacific sunrise. I liked it out there. I liked the jockeys. Oh, there was one. He was an older gentleman, a Mexican Indian, called himself Chief Johnson. And he taught me a whole lot of new tricks about racing. One of them wouldn't become famous for 2 decades. It was called acey-deucey. That's where you drop your left iron a couple of notches and you hitch up your right, and it gives you more power to push your horse in the turns. Then he taught me how to talk to horses. Now, we all did, but he always believed you started off, don't let them get ahead of you. And you get around the back stretch and you say, "Come on, don't let him cut you off." Then you get around that final turn, "Come on, you." And at the last minute, he'd lay on his crop and let out his Indian war cry. Yay, yay, yay! Man, his horses flew across the finish line. I figured, I just might try that someday. Well, later, him and me rode in a railroad stock car down to Mexico. Colonel Wynn had built himself that new racetrack called Terraces Park, right across the border in Juarez in the state of Chihuahua. Boy, that was a rough place. Folks down there toting guns. Why, you know, the crowds, though, were still pretty good, although some Americans were scared of that Mexican Revolution led by Pancho Villa that was going on. Well, when I come back to Kentucky in 1910, it seemed like racing was going to be safe in Kentucky after all. Maybe them reformers had suffered a setback. I was riding all over the state of Kentucky and winning race after race, averaging 2 mounts a day, sometimes 2 victories a day. That was, it was an incredible time. They sent me up to Canada. Some of them was writing me up as the leading money-winning jockey in 1910. Magazine said I was the #1 rider in America. Well, I won the Canadian Handicap, and in 1911, they sent me down to that new Moncrief Park in Jacksonville, Florida, and I won the 1911 American Derby on a horse named Governor Gray. Come back to Kentucky in 1911, won the Bourbon Handicap and spring meet leading jockey that year, fall meet leading jockey in 1912. But in 1913, I got that telephone call that would really change my life. I was playing cards with the jockeys and out in the barn, and they said, "Roscoe, you got a telephone call." Well, I'd never had one before. I knew we had a phone. There was only one telephone at Churchill Downs, and it was one of them candlestick jobs where you had to detach the earpiece and hold it up, you know, and speak. Well, I picked it up and said, "Hello." And on the other end of the line was Mr. Thomas Patrick Hayes, the best-known tobacco warehouse man in the United States. But he was also one of the top owners, breeders, and trainers of thoroughbreds. He was telling me he had a promising colt that he wanted me to work up for the 1913 Kentucky Derby. Of course, I asked him, "What colt?" And he said, "A big rangy colt we call Donerail. Named him after our little crossroads village, a railroad flag station just northwest of Lexington." Well, I knew that horse. He was what some people in the business called an in and an outer. Well, he'd do real well one day and just win a race in record time and do terrible in the next. He was a big-boned horse with good blood on both sides. But some trainers said he was hard to handle. I figured since he was so unproven, he might not be the best mount for me. But curiosity got the better of me, and I took the train to Lexington to see what made that colt so special. Mr. Hayes drove out to meet me all the way from Donerail in his horse and buggy. First impressions, I seen a little silver in his mustache and a little silver up here. He was only 49 years old then, but I thought he was an old man. Well, he took me out to meet his horse, Donerail. Sometimes you just know when something's right. At first look at Donerail said a lot. He was big, 16 hands high, deep chest, good hind quarters. I couldn't wait to get him on the track. And when I did, and urged him a little, that horse could turn on the speed. I brought him all the way around the track, and he wasn't even breathing hard, so I agreed to be part of his training. And after 1 week, I began to see he was as fast as any of the big-name horses. I began to think he could win the Derby, but he had one glaring weakness. That horse hated a muddy track. Why, he couldn't even stand up straight in the mud. Why, when you seen him on a wet track, you'd have thought that horse was trying to run on ice skates. At one race just a few weeks before the Derby, I wasn't on him. He come in dead last, 30 lengths behind the winner. But the next couple of weeks, I was on him in the Bluegrass Stakes. It was dry and fast track. We come in a close second behind Foundation, Lexington's pride. But then they brung Foundation in right after that. And Foundation ran a trial time at Churchill Downs that broke the existing Derby record. Mr. Hayes begun to lose his nerve, and he said, "Roscoe, I think you better go try to land the mount on 10 Point. That was the Great Eastern Hope, the Wonder Horse out of New York. Well, I went down and made my application, but another jockey'd already beat me to it, Merritt Happy Buxton. We called him Happy. So I went back to tell Mr. Hayes, and I didn't like that look on his face. And he said, "Well, son, I'm sorry to tell you, Donerail's just not ready. He needs more training." Well, I knew right then and there I wasn't going to get to race in the Derby. Now, when a trainer makes his decision, it's pretty final, but I couldn't let it go without some kind of argument. I said, you know how fast Donerail is. You know he's got the endurance to win. Mr. Hayes was having none of it. I told him, yeah, I know there's some good horses and there's good riders, but the best riders ain't on the best horses. Mr. Hayes was unmoved. Boy, I knew I was going to have to dig deep this next time. I reached down and I said, out of my brain, I said, I can get you a piece of that Derby. And I seen his wheels start to turn then, because it cost $25 then to nominate the horse and $100 to enter him in the Derby. It's a little more expensive than that today. Well, he looked at me and said, well, if you're crazy enough to ride him, I'm crazy enough to enter him in the race. So he left to go register Donerail, and I just sat down in that straw and almost cried with joy. May 10th, 1913, dawned bright and clear. Now, I'd stayed away from all them Derby Eve parties and their goings-on, and the jockeys had asked me to go out to the wrestling matches to see, and the great Strangler Lewis was in town. Nope, I just got myself a good night's sleep, got up, poured my coffee, got dressed in my everyday clothes, after a light breakfast, looked into Mother's room and said goodbye, stepped out, looked up at that sky. It was crystal clear blue. The sun wasn't up yet, but it had been dry that whole week. And they thought the weather would hold, and if it did, that track would be dry and fast, just the conditions Donerail favored. As I walked over there, it began to hit me. Here I was, this Louisville-born or Jeffersontown-born farm boy, Louisville street urchin, about to be racing in the 1913 Kentucky Derby. It wasn't a big event that it was today. It would be today, but it was fast to getting that way. The purse was the biggest ever. Attendance was going to break all records, and they even had August Belmont, the banker, and his lovely actress wife and all their entourage had come in from New York. It was going to be a big event. Well, I got over to the stables at Douglas Park. See, Donerail wasn't even stabled at Churchill Downs. Well, I went over there and knelt down, and I checked that horse over from head to hoof. And then here come Mr. Hayes, running his hands down each shin, checking the underside of each hoof. Boy, we had to make sure he was ready. Well, at 10 o'clock, I said, I reckon we better get on over to the Downs. I'd like to get over there before the crowds get out on the boulevard. So off we went down Old 3rd Street Road, across the Grand Boulevard, now Southern Parkway, and on to 4th Street. I walked on one side and held Donerail by the halter, Mr. Hayes on the other side, in case them automobiles and clanging streetcars frightened the colt. Crowds was out, they was as thick as fleas, and we was walking in and out of them, you know, in the distance from Douglas Park to Churchill Downs was 2 miles. So you can imagine we were relieved when we got up there in the entrance of the receiving barn, and we looked up at Donerail's odds, and they was posted at 91-1. Now, it wasn't that Donerail was such a bad horse. There was just 2 big horses in the race, and everybody was plunking their money on them. Lexington's Pride, a big bunch come down. They was betting on him. He'd beaten Donerail in every race they'd been in that spring, and he broke that existing Derby record by over a second. And then there was 10 Point, the wonder horse, the Great Eastern Hope out of New York. He was the #1 horse in America and won 4 of his last 6 starts. So Donerail was a forgotten outsider. And even at the odds of 91-1, I'm ashamed to say Mr. Hayes didn't even bet on him. And I'm even more ashamed to say neither did I. Well, that infield crowd was, this guy come inside, his eyes was all bugged, and he was talking about it. He said, that infield crowd is jam solid with horses and wagons and carriages, bicycles, automobiles, folks on step ladders and upended buckets. Streetcars are bringing in loads out on 4th Street every 2 minutes. They'd already busted the attendance record. Well, it got time to get dressed in the Hayes silks, solid red, with a big green tobacco leaf on the back in honor of Mr. Hayes' warehouses. Now, ain't that Kentucky enough for you? You know, them other jockeys, they was dressed up like circus monkeys. They was in such outlandish colors. This solid red suited me just fine. Well, they summoned us out to the paddock. Mr. Hayes was awaiting there. He cupped his hands and he gave me a boost up in the saddle. And then he proceeded to give me some advice. He said, Roscoe, don't you get out there and do something stupid like and try to win that race. You just finish in the money and get my fee back, you hear? We can't win against these fast horses. We're not going for cake. We're just going for cornbread. Well, we made a great parade for the grandstand. Lord Marshall on the rail, Jimmy Gill, Go Well the filly, 10 Point, the wonder horse, Donerail, Leo Charis, Yankee Notions, and on the extreme outside, Foundation. Now, as we was walking, 4 last-minute scratches took Donerail from number 9 and moved him into the number 5th position. That was another break we was getting that day. Oh, yeah. So anyway, as we made this march, in my mind, I can still hear the strains of my old Kentucky home being played by the police and firemen's band. But historians say, Roscoe, you got that wrong. That wasn't played at Churchill Downs till 1921. I guess I've been to so many. Things kind of blur together, but let me tell you, there ain't nothing more beautiful than hearing our state song played and sung before the Kentucky Derby is run. We came to the gate. Now, back then, it wasn't them individual doors. It was a 3-inch strip of webbing, and it was fastened to 2 strong steel arms on coil springs. They was wound down. A starter would yank the cord, the arms would fly up and ring a bell. That would begin the race. We wheeled around, the bell clanged and the field was off. 10 Point took the lead, followed closely by Foundation and then Yankee Notions. It was just as I expected. One of them jockeys was bound to get on the bill daily, that is, set a fast pace and cause the others to keep up with him, while them speed horses would run each other into the ground. And I planned to pick me up some tired horses in the last quarter of a mile. I just helped Donerail back in 6th place like I was breezing him and let 10 Point and Foundation fight it out. Into the first turn, Happy Buxton gave 10 Point his head, and he moved out in front of Foundation by 3 lengths. Everybody then thought that 10 Point was going to make a runaway of it. I just guided Donerail toward the inside as we headed down the backstretch, and then Foundation made his move and drew almost even with 10 Point. All eyes was on them 2 leaders, and nobody noticed when I nudged Donerail up past Leo Charis into 5th place. That infield crowd was right up on the rail, waving their umbrellas and their newspapers, and I could hear their frenzied shrieking. Into the last turn, it was now or never. I knew it, and you might not believe it, but Donerail knew it. I cracked that crop and let out Chief Johnson's war cry, yay, 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 and sat out on Donerail's withers and felt him take off. I knew he had it in him, but this was something new. We begun passing horses like they were standing still. Soon all I could see was the seat of Happy Buxton's pants. Come on, Donerail! Yo, yo, yo! Donerail laid his ears back and lengthened his stride even more. Soon we was a-lapping at 10 Point's hindquarters. Happy was a-scrubbing that horse for all he was worth, but he was done in. 3 more strides and we was even, and right at the finish line, we surged ahead and we'd won the Kentucky Derby, beating the number 1 horse in America. We were the winners of the 1913 Kentucky Derby. Okay. Thank you. Sure. Oh, sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If I don't dump the podium over, we'll make it through that. But Mr. Price, that was just wonderful, and it is so entertaining. Just joy to hear that story, and I just thought you did a great job with it. We'd like to present you with this memento as a friend of the Somerset-Pulaski Chamber of Commerce.
Right. Well, thank you.
And we'll get a picture there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you again, Mr. Price. And if you all just bear with me just a second, we have one little audible to call. Rakai, if you would. Folks, this will just take just a second. You know, sometimes you're allowed a little bit of audible and things, so we have a little audible today to play.
Happy birthday, Bobby Clue, from the staff of the UPS store.
Happy birthday, Bobby. 29 today, right? Hope you have a blessed one.
Hey, Bobby, just wanted to stop by, man, like everybody else, and just wish you an awesome happy birthday. Let you know that we all love you, man, and we appreciate the friendship that we got with you and all that you do for the community and the chamber. Definitely have my respect, man. Happy birthday. I hope it's a great one. See ya.
Happy 50th birthday from Town Money Saver.
Hey, Bobby, happy birthday. You're doing a great job as our chamber. Just wanted to take a moment to say happy birthday. I missed the Zoom video, so have a great weekend. Should be a beautiful weekend. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah, man, I'll probably be there later on tonight. Oh, hey. Hello. What's up, Bobby? You know what day it is today? It's Friday. That's a day of the week. And also, I hear it's your birthday, so happy birthday to you. It's the start of the weekend. Mercury's in retrograde, which means the entire Earth is going to crumble and fall. But at least we'll be able to celebrate life while we're still alive. Have a good one, buddy.
Happy birthday, Bobby. Hope you have a good one.
Hey, Bobby. I meant to tell you happy birthday this morning in the office and I forgot to. So, happy birthday. I hope you have a fantastic birthday weekend and maybe go to the goat. Bye.
Happy birthday, Bobby. Have a good weekend.
Happy birthday, Bobby. Hope it's a good one. Cheers.
Happy birthday, Daddy. We love you.
Sylvie, say dada.
Hey, Bobby. Happy birthday.
Hey, Bobby. Just want to say happy birthday and thank you for all that you do for the chamber and making it the great organization that it is.
Happy birthday, Bobby.
Happy birthday, Bobby. Hope you have an awesome day.
Hello, Bobby. It's me, Patricia. Just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. I heard this today. And enjoy the beautiful weather. And hopefully have a great weekend. Don't celebrate too much. Bye-bye.
Happy birthday, Bobby.
Happy birthday, Bobby.
Happy birthday, Bobby. Hope you have a wonderful day.
Robert Ira, thanks for all the great work you're doing at the Chamber of Commerce. From all of us here at SPEDA, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Clue. I'm so sorry we're not going to be able to celebrate on Festival Field this year, but I'm sure you're going to come up with something awesome to do anyways. Just want to thank you for all you do for our chamber, our community, me personally, just being my friend and a confidant, and just love your family to pieces, and so happy you guys came in my life several years ago. Happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday, Bobby Clue. Thank you for always making me look young. Love you.
Rakai, that was great. And thanks for everybody that participated in that. And we do, Bobby. We wish you a happy birthday. Yeah. We have a few giveaways today. So if you all have your tickets and bear with us just for a minute, we're going to give you some prizes. First off, we have 20% off of M&W printing. Ticket number 176488. Ticket 488, right here at the center. Now, you may want to raise your hand up big and stand up. That way we'll know who won. Next, we have a $25 Eubank Pizza gift certificate. 176463, ticket 463, all the way in the back. Next, we have a $20 gift certificate from RB Dry Cleaners. Ticket 075664, ticket 664. Let's try ticket 146. Nobody. How about ticket 176. Linda Scare. She wants $20 off dry cleaning, don't you? There we go. Next we have a $25 gift certificate from Mole Hole. 176185. There he is in the back. Next we have a Yeti Hopper backpack cooler from Alton Blakely. 176175. All right, there you go. Everybody got excited over that. Next we have a Baxter's gift certificate card from Home Helpers Home Care. Ticket number 176470. Next, we have a free blizzards for a year. Man, what a gift there. All right. Everybody ready for this one? Make Dan Cheshire nervous. 176477. Ticket 477. There it is. Blizzards for a year. And next we have $10 off a purchase at the UPS store. Ticket number 176171. Ticket 171. There we go. Okay, that concludes all of our giveaway. Just want to tell you that our next luncheon will be Tuesday, August the 4th, and we'll have Keeneland Race Course Chief Operating Officer Vince Gabbard. Now, if you'll please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance and our dismissal. And I'm going to ask State Representative Speaker Pro Tem David Meade if he'll lead us in the pledge.
Would you salute with me and say the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, thank you all for coming out today. Good to see everyone.